Hello and welcome back, everyone. I know you're still sitting, and I love the sound of the audience as you're alive, because this is what I'm missing in all online remote things, the noise of people in a room. Literally, like you could have all of you in Zoom sessions or whatever, and you'll just have silence. And therefore, I'm actually very happy to hear your noise and to see you being here for real. By the order of authority given to me, I will add 5 minutes offset to my presentation, because I couldn't get you in earlier. And I also have an alarm, so. Hello. No, can I get the mic back? Please? Where's the... I forgot that I'm usually moving while I do things. Test 1, 2. Okay, thank you. So, where are we? My name is Peter Bubestinger-Steindl, and I like to go with Peter B, just for fun. I'm a computer scientist. I think this is what I studied, computer science, at the Technical University in Vienna. And I've been with preservation, long-term preservation of audiovisual material since I was studying, so like 2001. Dude, I'm getting old. So now, time to say farewell to files and folders. Where do we start? So when I was preparing this, and I was like, okay, files and folders, actually they kind of hold us back. People always have to make decisions, file naming, structures, folder structures over time. Poof, my heart's beating while I think of this, because I had to think about this a lot. Who of you is dealing with file names and folder name decisions? Or other way around, who doesn't have to? Because recently I was like starting people who are younger than 20 years, and they said like, how do you organize your files? And they're like, we don't have any. And I'm like, literally pause. And they were like, no, we don't have files. We have everything in the cloud. I'm like, I get it. That's interesting, but you do have files, actually. So without files and folders, people, when I was talking about this idea that we could actually let go of having a mandatory, like you have to choose a folder. The file has to be somewhere. You're like, ah! No. So I swear, your files never were in a folder. It's just an idea. It's a concept. It's something that brilliant technicians came up with in like the probably 50s, then 70s. And like to give us an idea to handle files in folders. Like this is for business machine applications from the 60s, 50s. I'm not taking away your files or folder names. Where I'm taking you is, imagine being able to seamlessly annotate any data anywhere, put key value, put information on any data objects. I will from now on call things data objects. And you'll be like, Peter, you did this in last November with an object storage, and I went full round trip, and we don't have to go big data, but we can. But the thing is, imagine you can tag anything anywhere, literally, doesn't matter what, regardless of which file format. I feel the silence, I like it. Basic and interoperable, like you just right-click, edit metadata. You just rename stuff in your file manager. Just imagine this being possible. Copy, move, merge any data from anywhere. And you don't have to like, oh, my friend's coming over giving me their MP3 files or whatever, media files or whatever, and now I would like to copy this on my hard disk, but I have my musical collection sorted really well. So this is me personal. And now in the institution, it's like, we really have a system there. You can't just, we have to ingest this. So who's done ingests and renaming files? How's it feel? How's it feel? Okay, so I have to move on. I think I found a way to go Lego on all our annotation needs. And I'm really excited about this. Why I love this is, first of all, I'm not really an artist, I'm a computer person. And then you have Lego blocks, all the same size and shape. And if you have enough Lego blocks, think digital now and translate this. If you have enough space and computing power, You can basically have basic blocks, pile them up, and go completely crazy. So where I'm taking you is, I do professional export-import business with data, digital, like all the time, and it's getting less funny, and I feel looking like this, and it's getting extremely expensive, and not that I'm making money of it, it's more like that this should not be like that, and it's not getting any better, and then I was like, something's wrong. But what actually is wrong? So this is a screenshot from a DEF CON security presentation by Dakota Nelson, and he had this nice quote that we are buried beneath the weight of information, which is being confused with knowledge, quantity with wealth, and abundance and wealth with happiness, but we are monkeys with money and guns. The whole quote is even better, and what I'm getting at is, shall we hum to it? But how long does this go on, actually? It's funny. Is it actually doing something on someone's phone? I was technically curious about this. It's this 8-bit sound, actually. It's just like one of the 4 channels of the C64. What is that? Wow. So many magic moments we have together. Had my first alarm with you, while I said we're monkeys with money and guns. So my point was, we're actually dealing with big data. I don't know if you don't know the term big data, but it's like what all the big companies and please, dear alarm, I don't know if it's he or she or whatever, but it's alarm. Great, I have no clue where in time I am now. I like writing denial of service attacks, but like being on the other side of it is like, put a pillow on it. So what I'm getting at is actually that we're dealing with data, and if you like it or know it or whatever or not, is that we are, like big data, the term, I'm like, dude, this is so big data, we need special things. We can't just put files in folders and use databases. We need different tech stacks. This is from 2000, 2003. And now all of us basically are dealing with the same issues because we have amounts of data mixed and whatever. And you've seen the Kafka presentation and so on. So we are already in the user zone of big data needs, but we're still being served with paradigms of the 90s, like files and folders, metadata being somewhere else. So I'd like to give you a sneak peek into the future, but the time will not allow for really doing this. But what's out there is, first of all, the future, Marty, is 10 years in the past. And that's actually not a joke, because there's object storage. The specification for object storage is from 2000 or 1998. It's stable. Schema evolution, really cool. You know what a database schema is? It's like you've got your tables and you've got these fields like title, person, name, last name, address, and so on. And now we want to add a new field. Oh, now we have to change this and everything. And schema evolution is something from a big data tech stack that you can change the database schema of anything you have And one application may query it as the metadata scheme from yesterday, and the other one with your changes. And you may actually change the layout of your data on the fly without having to update and migrate everything. You just keep stable what you need to keep stable, change what you want to change, and it'll just keep running. Because there's companies who lose gazillions of currency units by the second if they need to migrate. So there's a lot of technologies that we just don't see in the GLAM sector that have solved these issues. File versioning, so you can just roll back in time. And the last one, which is the one I'm going to be focusing on right now, is extended file attributes. It's not by Wikipedia, but it's like there's an article on Wikipedia that I was linking here, and you'll get a link to the slides. So what are extended file attributes? Or in the Mac and Linux world called XAttrs, like extended attributes. Literally, you can have key value information on any file. And this is, do you remember, no. You can have key value information on any file. You can just like take a file and just annotate it with key value information. Now it's getting personal. You can really use a 0-byte file. Just imagine this. You like right-click, touch a new file, nothing, and you can just annotate a file that has no payload. It is the equivalent, technically, of a database entry, but you don't need a database now anymore. What does it look like? So here I wrote a small graphical user interface, because the thing is that these extended attributes exist since the same time, around 2000, but it was just the time was not right. Going back to the Lego blocks, the hardware and software was just not there yet, basically mainly the hardware requirements. But what I show you here is these metadata tags may seem familiar, like these are from an MP3. What I did was I extract the metadata from the MP3 and just copy paste it onto the file system level. The file system is where your file name is stored. So literally you can access this information from any file manager. It'll just not giving you the user interface for this now because no one has taken it seriously enough. But I've gone even further because it was too good to be true. It really works out of the box. If I take a Linux machine or a Mac machine, you can just take these attributes. macOS uses it heavily, but hardly anyone knows. It was just overlooked. So you can literally use the file system as a database. And what I did here was I take a 0-byte file, call it whatever, the file name doesn't matter, it's all metadata now, and I'm giving it annotation stuff, like I'm giving it the title, I'm database entry, and then I just add an identifier to something and an identifier to something else. So with this Lego block, I can now depict any object relationship of anything on the most fundamental level that all applications come together and agree upon since the 70s. And it works on all operating systems since around 2000. Just a bit rusty and dusty. Of course, persistence and reliability concerns. Like, yeah, we've had this. And when I talked like in November, Dave was like, I remember there was in macOS, they had something, but and then things got lost. Yeah, but who of you still knows and remembers that files were just 8 characters, uppercase ASCII only? Who of you still worries? Oh no, we cannot use upper or lowercase because might actually get lost. Is worried? Yeah. Me too. So for preservation, what I do is like I make a text file or some other workarounds if I'm not totally sure if all my environment will support my file name or file system information. This building, that actually I was told it's true, they like rotated the building. So if there's a will, there literally is a way. And there are many things that you can do, like import-export, because now it's just data. And you can import-export this. If your data is crossing a bridge that you're not comfortable if it goes somewhere, like you can write your file objects on an LTO tape, and you have these extended attributes with it, like tar supports it. Like tar is a tape archive format. And if you find an application that does not support it, well, file a bug report, take it seriously. Like, it's like, Where's the... We've got Unicode emoji characters in file names. If we want it, we can have it. It's not a technical issue. It's like a supply and demand thing. So, finally, after decades, please give the file name and path a place to deserve. It always was just metadata. It was just information for us humans to structure data. But technically, it was a technical handle, and still is, where the machine and the file systems meet. So, let go of this. The real thing that a machine needs is some sort of identifier. And then the file name is a metadata field. The path is a metadata field with delimiters. And now imagine you can have more than one file name. That's a 0+ field. Same for path. Now this is like back to the burning car dude taking away our file names. He said he's not, but he's gonna. No, just think it's optional. What I tell you here is not the future, Marty. It's actually the present from 2015 and before. It's all there. It literally is all there. It's already supported. I tested it. So imagine, what I have here is, you're probably familiar with adding a bookmark in your browser. What do? You go like, save. How's it feel? Like this? Like, shit, dude. I didn't choose a path. Dude, I did. There you go. There's a path. You can. But what I did for my recent work, I just made one folder and like save. And what I did was use tags. And guess what? It actually feels really good. And now imagine you can give it a path. You can give it more than one path. Music collection, artist, album, track. But this is the CD my friend burned me. So I find this under, samplers and so on. So an object it doesn't have to be in one place. It's just information now. It just is information. And add any information later, as you like. Right-click, edit metadata. The identifier, for metadata and data alike. Now there's another thing. A guy walks into a room and asks a dog, what's the difference between metadata and data? And the dog looks at that person and says, I don't know, the size? Or how often you want to read and write it? I had no clue, dude. But if you have like a media object, there's something that's like big and that they have on LTOs and archives and that they don't want to change, and there's other stuff that they have in their catalog which they do change or access more frequently. So you've got big, small, ephemeral, and more steady data, but technically there's no more need to distinguish between meta and data. And you can address anything by an identifier. Databases do it, file systems do it, object storages do it, why don't we do it? So you could literally just have all data of your private, personal, institution, whatever, in one pool. And just go like, hey, cool, I can actually refer like the link to open data thing to Wikidata, and the other thing is in the CKM, and the other information is actually there. And if I add magnet links and I have everything on right-click, edit metadata, dude, it's like I don't even need a special application anymore. I just need a front end for my Lego blocks. I came up with the concept of collision-friendly IDs. This is a subject for another time, and it's really interesting. But yeah, we now have generic meta and data building blocks. And the first thing I'm using it is to actually finally tag my personal photos and files, because I refused of doing this, and it's getting a real mess. Like, here's my daughter, here's my family, here's my home, here's this event, this, that. I can all put it in file names, but I never put it in any application because I've done import-export for so long of metadata that I'm like, please make it stop. But now I've done it on a file system. And I just did it on my Linux machine, like tag, Lena, copied it over the network, over Samba, on my network storage. I did not configure anything. I just had to set one flag with Samba, copied it back, and I have my annotation there. I'm like, this feels really good. really good. So if taken seriously, and just offering new opinions and options, you can embedded metadata. You need to parse file formats, MP3, MP4, MP7, MP21. Some things cannot be annotated. Ever tried to annotate a text file or a JPEG? Give a JPEG a title? Go for it. You can, I did this. You can just go in, copy paste existing metadata, pull it out on the file system, key value, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I don't need to embed metadata anymore if I don't want to, and I don't have to care about the file format anymore, literally none. Annotation spreadsheets. Who of you opened the spreadsheets to annotate your collections? I do not believe you. Like seriously, a spreadsheet for annotating your collections. The Kulturpool project in Austria, we've had 200 institutions. Many of them still use Excel as their main database. Not necessary anymore. Right-click, edit metadata, save. Relational database. Yes, they have their pros and cons, but for many cases, you just want to annotate your objects. You want to describe relationships. This image is the cover artwork of this. This photograph was from this event. That event now is like just a thing on my file system, and so on and so forth. Sidecar metadata files, I could go on. Many of these things just resolve into fluffy happiness. I literally like, and you know me, I never like these Playmobil things like, Lego, and you can just like recombine everything. In the Linux world, we have tools that are 20 years or older, but they're Lego blocks, and we can just combine them. So what's missing yet? Proper user interfaces, and basically the mere will to go from 8 characters, like we did in the past, to long file names is the same thing, and build a smooth computing environment supporting this. Because if we do this, we may get a storage system that allows us to annotate any data and connect all institutions, if we want to, with a common blueprint for a storage that you can use to annotate, like cover 9 out of 10 annotation needs. I challenge you on this, or challenge me on this. If I'm really overlooking anything, please let me know. I would really love you to get in contact with me. I'm working on this for 2 years now, and I'm looking for bright minds or interested people to make a project to actually not invent this, it's already there. We just have to pick up the pieces and make an orchestra. So we can stabilize our data in a generic way and refer to meta and data equally and get out of the never-ending migration, update, import, export, exhaustion madness. Rainbow. Thank you very much. Do we even have time? We don't.
I mean, there's some presentation. Do we have a question from the audience? All right, pass right here.
My question is there a limitation to the length of key and values in XX attributes? And additional question, in your first slides, there was a description field visible. What is this? Is this also a feature from X attributes or just on the right? Yep, this key value description.
This is a prototype remote. I just wanted to have a description for what you could have, like the doubling core things and have a short description. That's the save button also isn't working yet, but yeah. Yeah, the length of the key value is limited and depends on which file system. But for now, it's around like several kilobytes to depends. But I would say that first, if we like have standard text move there, like just embedded metadata, it'll already make us quite happy. And if we're happy with this, we can then, yeah.
Hi, Ross Spencer. I've been following along online on this project. Definitely would love to collaborate maybe. I did have 2 questions. Can you round trip to NTFS and APFS and back to whatever I forgot what the links were.
I've tried ZFS, I've tried X4. I read about ButterFS. I have not tried HFS Plus, but I read that it actually does it.
Yeah.
So we can actually, for some I can say, yes, I tried. For some I say, yes, I read about it. And for some others, let's give it a try.
And just on the primary, like, are we promoting metadata to like, I mean, it kind of always is. Like, it is kind of like a primary source of information in its own right. Do we have to think about exporting this file system metadata separately, backing it up in some way?
That's what I said before. You can and you probably should, because now it's becoming important. And the basic tools provide that you can just dump this as information. So in order to stay on time, I'll move everything to later. Thank you very much.